So older comic books continue to make a ton of money. Action Comics, number one, sold at an auction for $3.25 million. It was actually CGC graded at 8.5, I believe. And if you think about it, it's pretty amazing considering this comic, as you can see on the cover, came out in 1938, a long time ago. And there's some stuff that happened in history where I guess paper needed to be recycled or something. I'm not 100% sure on this. So it's one of the reasons why comics really just don't exist anymore from back then, and they're so hard to get a hold of, especially like old Superman and stuff like that. But anyway, I want to talk more about modern comics. I've done plenty of videos showing just how nasty some of these newer comics can be, and a lot of that has to do with the comic book professionals themselves. They act very, very politically charged on social media, and they've been terrible to fans for years. And they have this mentality where it's like, it's not, am I good enough for you to be my fan? It's, are you good enough to be my fan? And they actively tell customers to get lost. I don't want to get too, because I could go for a while on this because this is a subject I've been covering for a long time. But I want to start with this. So there's a group of mean girls and bullies that hang out in these private Facebook groups and on Discord where they all get together and they actively try to destroy people's lives in the comic book industry, kind of as a way to promote themselves, or if you don't work for them, they'll start rumors about you and they will get you fired from mainstream comics. They will get your ass kicked. Bottom line. I did a whole video on that. Bleeding Fool's got somebody in the inside working for them and kind of tracking the way that this Mean Girls kind of network has ran. Really good article here. There's two of them that they've done. Actually, there's three. I'm going to go over the third one now. In the first one, a lot of evidence is presented to how this Mean Girls network works, and is a very, very good piece. The second one actually shows that a lot of people higher up in the industry are taking notice to this Mean Girls network. And if they come up for a job or something like that, they actually don't give them work. Because, well, why would you want to hire somebody who's going to try to stick a knife in your back one day, so they can take your job? It's catching up with a lot of these people. It's funny because a lot of these people in the Whisper Network don't work or have never worked for the big two, which is DC and Marvel. But yet they hold tremendous power, and that's because they will gaslight you on social media. Big time. They'll gaslight you and get you canceled from comics. You'll never be able to work at a big comic book place again, because if you do, they will get on Twitter and tweet hundreds of thousands of times about what a terrible, nasty piece of crap you are, and they'll make sure you don't work again. They'll actively try to make sure that you never eat food with money in your pocket again. It's very, very disgusting behavior, and it's part of the reason why comic books are shit now. Because, well, if they don't like something you're doing, they'll call it out and actively try to destroy you, make you look like some kind of istophobe. And the industry continues to bow down to them and let them do whatever you want. It's a bottom-up industry. You could be the most talented person in the comic book industry, and it doesn't even really matter, because if this group comes after you, you're done. You're done. However, it's kind of working against them in some way. So one of the biggest people in this Whisper Network is a comic book editor named Heather Antos, blue checkmark, who did work at Marvel, worked on Star Wars, Deadpool, and a bunch of big properties. Was pretty much in charge of the Star Wars comic book line at Marvel as an associate editor. Not the top dog, but like kind of just like the number two, basically. And rumor has it she got fired because she was being lazy and spreading gossip all over the office, and that's why they got rid of her. She got fired. And then she went to like online gambling or something, some online gambling website. And then she got jobs. She got a job as a senior editor at Valiant and Image. Basically, a good example is, if you know the movie Bloodshot with Vin Diesel that was out recently, that's a Valiant property. They have a lot of properties, actually. believe Sony purchased them for that reason, so they could mine them for their own cinematic universe. Well, she tried to get a job at DC Comics, apparently. Been trying for a while. Now, this should be an easy job for someone in the Whisper Network that wields so much power. But in fact, she was denied by Jim Lee, one of the best artists on the planet, by the way. Jim Lee said, hell no. I'm not having that here. Why did that happen? Well, apparently, according to this Bleeding Fool article, back when Jay Lee was dogpiled by the Whisper Network, basically he was going to do, well, he did do a cover for Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog comic, and Tom King here decided he would try to please the Whisper Network. This is Batman writer, a terrible writer, by the way, terrible writer. He was going to write New Gods. That's how that movie was going to. That's how I know that movie was going to be a pile of shit. But basically, he jumped on Jay Lee, said, well, he's working with a hate group and stuff like that. And the next day, he came out and apologized and bent the knee because, well, Jay Lee, get this, is really good friends with Jim Lee, the boss of DC Comics. And rumor is he said, Tom King, you better apologize publicly or your ass is gone. So he did. But one person refused to apologize, and that was Heather Antos. She kept calling him out over and over again, saying stuff like this, still waiting for any accountability from Jay Lee. Refused to apologize. So Jim Lee said, yeah, I don't think so. You're not coming here. I'm going to go ahead and say no to Antos. We don't want you over here at DC Comics. So she doesn't get to go work at DC Comics. He kept her out. So where is she going? Well, according to Penny Parker here, she's going to IDW, which is hilarious because IDW is practically bleeding money, losing money left and right. The last thing they need is somebody that comes over and, you know, trashes fans. She will actively go after fans left and right. There was a time when somebody asked her when Deadpool was going to hit the printers, and she said, you're lucky I even took it there so you could get the book. She's done a lot of stuff on social media. It's crazy. If it was any other job, she would not be working there. But in comic books, you feel upward. So now she's going to the third, one of the third. I don't know who's bigger, Image or IDW. It was like DC, Marvel, Image, or IDW, one of the two. So no DC Comics here. I just find it funny. This is like karma right here because she's desperately trying to get back to a bigger comic book publisher. She went from Marvel to Valiant. Now she's going to IDW. Don't think she'll be going back to Marvel. So she almost got into DC Comics until she went after Jay Lee, and that didn't work. So there does appear to be accountability for this action, for the actions that a lot of these people are doing. And the previous report, which I didn't cover because I was on vacation, talked about there is an active insider blacklist. There's a blacklist that the Whisper Network has that has people that aren't allowed to work in comics. But there's also an industry blacklist of people that have, you know, made comic book professionals' lives hell. And those people are never going to work, well, maybe for Marvel, but definitely not DC Comics. They even have a hard time getting in at Marvel, too. One or two of them squeak in there. It's totally possible. But how long will you hang around the industry if you can ever work in it? You know what I'm saying? So IDW is a sinking ship. I'm surprised they're taking her, but she's going there. It doesn't really matter. Other than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't know what the hell else IDW has. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I just thought this was an interesting story. Good job to Bleeding Fool for this report. It's an excellent, excellent job they've done with these Whisper Network articles. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.